lovely kind of taupe sateen disco blouse, and Nathan is wearing a
Oh, you
taupe
are. You're
t-shirt.
matching. Beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It's Gucci.
Oh, is it Gucci? And is it Faro and Ball on the walls? That's a nice colour.
It is, but then I had a patch that I had to redo, and the colour was so far off.
Oh, I can see it.
Yeah, I think where I was leaning my head, so I thought, let me get a little tester and put it, and it's like a completely different colour, but the same colour. So you've got to get some backups and just not open the tin.
You do, isn't it amazing?
For touch-ups.
Well, everyone needs a tin for touch-ups. Some people want touched up by a tin. But we were having a discussion. Jojo was saying, how can you tell someone's gay? And I'm like, by looking at them. And obviously I can tell what your wall coverings are, and you've shared the blouse with us. There's a lot going on. We're bonding, sis. Yeah. We're bonding.
This blouse was bought for my sister's wedding that's off, so I thought, well, I'll crack it out.
Oh, no.
Is that a drama or is it okay?
It's okay, but she's pregnant with twins, so...
Oh, right. Are
And
they
the
hers?
wedding-
And she's a geriatric mother, so it's a big disaster.
Well, that's anything over 21. The rude people that they are at the hospital.
She's a double geriatric then.
And so is the wedding off because they're not getting married anymore, or the partner to be is no longer in the scene?
No, he's still here.
I think we'll move on from that, Jojo. Read the room.
I know, sorry.
I think it was a bump in dress situation, you know.
Ah,
but
right.
she's not going to look hot anyway, so I don't know what she's worried about.
Did you get the looks in the family? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. I can tell. I'm picking up on that. Because do you still model as much as you did?
Funnily enough, yesterday something just came through that I'm doing that's going to be quite fabulous. But no, I am. When I had like a big moment, I missed it. I fucked it up.
Was that due to lifestyle?
Due to, drink and drugs. And,
yes.
And being full on with, I don't know, I think when you're young, I got offered lots of opportunities, but I thought, oh God, why do I need to do that? And now I'd be like, oh my gosh, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah, because you
know,
were...
being invited to do amazing things. And I was like, oh God, I'd rather go out and party.
Yeah.
And the joy of hindsight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were Vivienne Andreas's choice as... I don't want to say cross-dressing, gender-bending, but androgyny.
Yeah. It was just before, it was about 2 years before there was a real boom in that. And I mean, now there's a huge boom in that, but it was a couple of years before, and I've forgotten the name. She's trans now, and everybody was, about 2 years later, she came out and became a big model and is absolutely stunning. And if I could remember the name, it would really help, wouldn't it?
That'll come back to you.
Of course, she's had two names.
Well,
and everyone was like, "Oh my God, that's like you 2 years ago." So it was just before it became like a big thing. Because I remember when I did the Vivienne Westwood show, I like opened and closed it. It was a really big thing. There was a video of the editor of Elle magazine, and it was like quite outrageous. She was like, "I don't know what came down the wrong way. If it was a boy, if it was a girl."
Oh God, was that Lorraine Candy?
I'm not sure. It was quite a while ago. She was like, and at the end, she had a top off and nipple.
She's frozen.
Oh, you're back.
She's frozen.
Can we go back to Can we go back to nipples, please?
Yeah, 42,000 remixes. I could melt your heart. She could melt her own face. Did you see her at the weekend?
I mean, it's a hot mess, but I love it. I love Madonna. I think there's, like everybody, that she can't be beaten. But I mean,
yeah, no, sorry. My dog is trying to search for her real parents who died a long time ago. She's doing my head in. No, I just think with Madonna, because I love her, obviously, but I kind of think she needs to sack everyone round her, let the filler dissolve in her face, have a facelift, and stop drinking.
I mean, there's certain ways to do it. I think my idol, Debbie Harry, has had 2 proper full facelifts.
Oh, she looks amazing.
It looks amazing. I think what's happened is, even if you've got the money and blah, 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 facelifts are off the table now. They're seen as too invasive, I guess, but they fucking work.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, you know, Jane Fonda, Dolly, Cher, I think obviously they all look extreme, but they look like, I don't know, they look like there's just something different about filler. which is a fucking mess.
Which-
It's so
They look like a
awful.
melted
It's
candle.
awful.
But
Yeah,
that
it's awful.
that brings us on to your song. I'm just another Kim Kardashian, and the lyrics are "Get yourself an
Oh, you
internet."
know this one?
Of course I do, darling. You know, we've tweeted
Oh,
before.
thank
You've
you.
never replied. I know, busy. But talking about facelifts, I'm watching the Kardashians on Disney Plus. They are
Right.
unrecognizable from when they first started, but the work is excellent, and that's not filler.
She was the booty one, wasn't she?
Sorry, you're freezing a bit, love. You're back in the room. So no, I was just saying that the Kardashians, of which you have your song Just Another, they've gone for full facelifts and they look amazing.
Okay.
Like,
But yeah, unrecognizable.
well, yeah, totally different from Chris.
Because there was the booty one, right, who got left out.
well,
Not Caitlyn.
oh,
Chloe was left out of the situation, and now she's like, woo,
yay,
okay.
yay, no, absolutely. And I
And
think,
that was kind of what the song was about.
Yeah.
Because I kind of like Kim for some reason. I don't know why. I've never really watched the show, but I quite like Kim, just from picking up bits in the media and stuff. She seems, quite interesting, actually. The others, I don't really know anything about. But I felt like, that the Chloe one disappeared and came back as Kim.
well, yeah, she came back. I actually thought that during lockdown, what they did was moved a plastic surgeon into the house.
Oh, really?
Because they all had to freshen up. So I think they moved a surgeon in, and I think they all got done because Chloe was the tomboy. People were really horrible to her, saying OJ was her father and all this kind of stuff. Because you know that Kim Kardashian's father was the lawyer for OJ.
Yes.
I'm just bringing Jojo up to speed because she lives in her own little world. And
It's very safe there.
but no, Kim's amazing because she does so much prison reform stuff. So
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when I did the Westwood campaign, that was what it was about. It was about Guantanamo Bay, and that's that was the little knickers that I wore. Said "Fair trial, my arse."
Oh,
She
brilliant.
said, and I didn't even. And it was like printed on them. And she was like, and I was stuck in them. The show was about 2 hours late, and I had my cock in my arsehole with some gaffer tape. The show was 2 hours. I was desperate for a piss, and I just
How
remember
uncomfortable
Vivienne was
is that?
awful. I don't do it because I think that's the moneymaker. When I go out, I like to be on show. So I never do that. Lots of drag queens do that every day. And I'm like, this cannot be healthy it must just be shriveled up. I'm sure, not working properly. I need mine to work. And anyway, the one time I did do it was for Vivienne Westwood, do what she says. And the knickers were so small, they were like a size 8 women, so I had to, because I'm very well endowed. And so it was stuck up there for about 3 hours, and I was desperate for a piss. And she just said, when you get to the end of the runway, turn around, stand for ages and flash your ass. And it was the first time I'd done a catwalk, and in the rehearsals, I just, walked down and been pretty normal. And I just did as she said, and I just stood there for ages. And the next day it was on the front page of all the newspapers.
Wow.
Yeah, my hole.
well, that's nice. But there's
And your stapled
Lovely.
cock.
yeah,
Lovely.
but there's a drag queen up here, Lady Munter, that doesn't tuck. I mean, she
I
doesn't.
love her.
Yes,
She's
yeah,
good. She
she's
doesn't do anything, does she?
no, she keeps it real. well, there is a story that I won't.
like her. Lady Munter. Yeah, I like her.
There is a
I
very
work with her.
there is a very famous story of her at a Trixie Mattel gig, but we'll leave it there. That's something that's not for.
But she's naughty, but she's reformed as well, hasn't she? Because Lady Munter, I remember being naughty. Now she's all light and love.
Oh, she's not light. She's
Okay.
still a bit of a heifer.
I was gonna say, she's heavy in love.
Yeah. She's I don't know if she's a loving person, and I think when she slips up, it's back in the house.
Oh, right.
I just don't think she does it. She does it publicly. But you're working on new music with Boy George, aren't you?
So yes, I've been working with George for quite a few years, but he's quite all over the shop. He has a lot of projects that he works on at once. So it's quite difficult. So we just in the fortnight done a really good tune that's going to come out. He's doing 60 tracks for his 60th birthday.
Boy, George is going to be 60. Oh, that
Uh-huh.
makes, yeah.
I think he is already. I think he is. He didn't have a party because it was in the lockdown. His 50th was very good. And so he's doing, 60 tracks with like 60 different people. I'm not sure. Done a really good one called Oceans Away, which is more of a singing track and a singer-songwriter type thing. And then I think we're going to try and, do an album that's more country. I'm a country and western boy. I grew up, my parents were bikers and into all that, John Wayne films every day. I feel quite a strong connection to country music, so we're kind of going in that direction. So it's a different project to the Kim Kardashian stuff and the drag queen stuff, because I just cannot write songs about being a drag queen. I can't physically do it.
Do you think we're at oversaturation point
Oh
with
God,
it?
it's just so naff. I can't, because it makes me feel sick to be that all anybody's got to say is that they're putting on their lipstick and they're going out dancing. I mean, like, all the best songs are about dancing and about the nightclubs, but there's just something about the drag queen music just makes me vomit.
And also,
it's just so crap.
And there's more to people than that. Do you know what I mean? I think when people just find that the only interesting thing about themselves, then yeah.
Yeah, they sort of run with it.
Going
so
back,
this is a more thing. So I don't know how it'll be. I don't know how it'll be received. Like the Kim Kardashian track, it is a great track.
Has she heard it?
I think Chloe tweeted it and it got like millions of views on like TikTok with the tune, but I'm not sure. I keep saying, because George is really good friends with the funny mother.
Yes, Chris.
The momager. Yeah. Yes. And I keep saying, you need to get her to just do a TikTok or whatever, a video.
Kendall, Schwendel, Kylie, Zoe.
Yeah, because it's cheeky. It's, but it's also just like, come on, I'm sure they're able to laugh at themselves. It's not nasty. I don't fucking hate them. I don't really know anything about them.
I think it's a huge compliment to have a song written about you. And she hosted Saturday Night Live.
Especially with Boy George,
Yeah, and she hosted Saturday Night Live recently, and she did all the sketches, and she was funny. She was really self-deprecating, and she was funny.
Well, I think that's the key to success, is if you can laugh at yourself and, not take yourself too seriously.
Yeah,
and,
Dolly Parton.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Always like that. And I'm like, you've got the knack. You know exactly how to shut anyone down that's got issues with how you look or whatever. I mean, but she is extremely talented.
She is extremely talented.
Can we say the same for Kim Kardashian?
I don't know.
Well, do you know something? I suppose the mother is talented in bringing about $1 billion empire from essentially a sex tape. So there is talent in the marketing. There is talent in the... I think there's maybe something to be a talent in yourself. It's ironic because I was just about to say the person that she came about with had no talent and was famous for being famous, Paris Hilton. And she's done that now 20,000 more times.
Yeah.
I
think when I'm sort of, when I was doing that song with George, and I was like, God, to be really doing a song about these, nobodies really. But he said, well, I think if Andy Warhol was around, he'd fucking love them. And think they were genius. And I was like, okay, if you think that, if you think that, then okay, let's go with it.
Going back to the fillers, Simon Cowell actually saw himself on Britain's Got Talent and realised that he'd had too many fillers put in.
Right.
So there you go, fun fact.
And what about the teeth?
Well,
this is another issue.
What is it with people in veneers? I know you can get them on Klarna now, but that doesn't mean that you have to get them done. They look awful, and the noise and the reverberate, and it sounds like... Now, listen, I know he's your friend. Has George had them done?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's too much going on in the mouth. Let alone anything recreational. Because that's the thing, they speak, and listen, I can say this, I've worked with Rylan a couple of times.
Especially for a singer, you've got to be
careful. But that's the thing, with your enunciation and all that kind of stuff.
I'm just about to have the Invisalign, so...
Oh?
What's that?
Which I think is a better stop. So it's like braces for adults. And they're just like retainer type things that move your teeth slightly. And you can't sing with them.
No.
So just having like a foreign object in your mouth all the time and trying to sing, Well,
that's what I was saying. I mean, how's George getting his soup?
This is how Kim Kardashian started.
Well, absolutely. And now she's one of the richest women in the world. So it just goes to show, if you suck hard enough, good things will come.
Is that all it takes, do you think? I'm single for the first time since 1989. Now, maybe that should be my...
Since when?
since 1989. It's for single.
Wow.
So, yeah, and I'm 56 now, so it's time to catch
And
up.
boy, is she busy, let me tell you.
Good.
Let's not
good.
broadcast that.
Yeah, she is thrush on a stick.
Hold on, where do you find them?
Trains.
Trains, planes, and
Okay, trains,
automobiles.
planes and automobiles.
Aye.
Yeah, me too.
Aye.
Me too.
Yeah, she's been known to pick
Anywhere.
up more than a blouse in TK Maxx.
Okay. Yeah, good offers in there.
She's not the gold label section.
Oh, okay.
She knows to keep it real.
Yeah, TK Maxx is a winner in my view.
Oh no, absolutely. You were in a documentary, a pioneering documentary, Drag Queens of
wow,
London.
Yeah.
Do you? What is your take then on the fact that people think drag nowadays is what you see on Drag Race? If you see what I mean, because that's not necessarily true for everyone.
Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily true, but they're actually right because I mean, when we used to do the club Tranny Shack, which obviously we couldn't do these days, but at the time that there's no denying that's what it was called, and it was fine. And then just about the last year, there started to be sort of murmurings that this word is not to be used anymore from America actually. So we kind of. It closed. It was at Madame Jojo's. It was amazing, and Madame Jojo's sadly closed down during a lot of the redevelopments.
Great names.
Yeah, and it was just very rock and roll. I mean, I don't consider myself. I don't use the term non-binary, but I'm in that sort of wheelhouse, if you know what I mean. And so I don't mind to be called anything really, but drag queen, I'm a bit over, but even transvestite is seen, you shouldn't really say that anymore. And I'm like, well, hold on, because a lot of the people I know who are older, that's how they describe themselves, as transvestites. They're men who wear what's perceived as women's clothing and dressing up, and that's how they get their enjoyment or their pastime, or they just like to do it. And we kind of have to pretend, and they often, don't look like supermodels. And I feel like now everybody tries to look like a supermodel. These people are cast aside and seen as sort of wrong or something, and that they don't exist. And I'm like, well, hold on, they're all still alive.
And also...
They're just an older generation. Let them do what they want to do. They're not...
But also
it's very
trailblazers,
strange.
wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I
Trailblazers,
forget.
people that open the
Yeah.
door to acceptability and to it being, do you know what I mean? That without people like that, then there wouldn't be the
But I think my
blossoming there is now.
my big beef with the whole thing is you can't retrospectively go through decades to recorrect everything to today's high standards. And you have to give credence to people that were there before you. We've said this to other gay people on the show. Not everything is Grindr, not everything is Domino's Pizza. Some people had to, live a double life, whether they were dressing up or whether they were just being gay or any of that kind of stuff. And I think the ignorance towards that, because they don't see the language as suitable when it was for that time. And it's about knowing what was in the past and what was in the present.
Yeah, exactly. It's just intelligence, really. And these people, like you said, trailblazers, they're amazing, and they're just sort of pushed down because it's like, oh gosh, we don't want their opinion anymore, because it's not quite right, because they say, oh, I'm a transvestite, or I'm a cross-dresser, or whatever, and it's just too many labels. It really is.
That's the thing.
I mean, for me, non-binary, I'm like, I want to introduce myself to people and tell them what I am, and not what I'm not. I'm not non-anything in my mind. Everything. So it's just language. It doesn't offend me or anything. But I mean, I've had quite a few people refer to me as they and them on Instagrams and things, and I'm like, you're just putting words in my mouth that you think are correct.
Yeah. So
I don't feel like a they or a them. I feel like a he, and I feel like a she. And it's fine. I don't pull people up about it. It's not important,
But it's
I don't
other
say,
people
please don't call me that. But I'm like, you're just projecting all the things you think are correct.
and making an assumption about
Often straight people, when I get booked for gigs and they say that on their Instagram, they will be here. I'm like, who's they? It's not me.
Yeah, but it's
so
interesting.
it's just everybody's different, and that's cool.
It's interesting what you say about I had a conversation with someone that went, I can't speak to you until I know your pronouns. And I went, I'm not actually even sure what my pronouns are. I'm just me. Can we not just have a conversation? And if pronouns make you feel comfortable, that's great. And I think inclusive...
they make me feel a bit uncomfortable.
Right.
It's strange.
Yeah. Because I think...
I find it invasive, actually. I'm like,
oh, do you? Right.
I don't know. But it's weird because now even for drag and things, you're all seen under this umbrella term of trans. And it's just quite difficult because I feel at this moment in time, I've just started going to the gym a lot and lifting weights and stuff. And I just feel quite masculine at the minute. Mm-hmm. And I've always said I've never felt trans because for me, that is my friends who are going through something that's deeper than what I experience. So out of respect, I've never really felt like to say that I'm trans or whatever. But now you're seeing sort of if you have painted nails, well, you're on the spectrum of transgenderism. And I just don't know if that's correct. It doesn't, I'm like, no. Sometimes I'm a boy, sometimes I'm a girl. I don't know.
And that is how it should be, really, because, we all have different emotions depending on, some days you wake up, you feel that you look great or you feel really kind of positive and body positive. And other days you go, I'm all bloated or... you just feel different on different days. But it is that projection. That's really interesting you saying that, is that people trying to do the right thing or be seen to be saying the right thing that then project onto you, assume that because of their own either ignorance or embarrassment or not wanting to be seen to be do the wrong thing, by default do the wrong thing anyway. They do the wrong thing anyway, so
I mean, it's also that thing I feel like in sort of like in a restaurant, if somebody was, every single day that I go to a male bathroom, as I'm walking out, the person walking in always looks up and like, oh God, I'm in the wrong one. Yeah. And I can have a major beard thing happening. I could have not been working for a few days and had quite a bit of stubble, and they're still like flustered, especially if I'm in a different country for work. So I get it, and that even that can make me not uncomfortable, but makes me feel like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm a man, it's fine. So I totally get the sensitivities around everything. It's very difficult to navigate a world that's not so gender fluid.
Yeah, I mean, I think
this is why Ali McBeal was amazing. Everyone
absolutely, they just went for a wee-wee together.
They went for a wee-wee together. They looked under the stools. They had a laugh.
There was that wee baby wandering around sniffing all the shits.
I know. You had Lucy Lou screaming at people. So I just think, I do think like a more gender fluid future is inevitable and correct. And it should just be.
But that's what I'm saying. That I think that the inclusive language is great. It's there to make people feel comfortable. But you have to remember that an oversubscription to it for some, like yourself, can make them feel uncomfortable. So it can kind of work against.
People don't understand. My mother is so amazing. I could not, and my father. I could not ask for better support for everything I've been through or done or whatever. But I've took transgender friends home for Christmas and they've been like, oh, it's a man. I'm like, no, it's not. It's she was, born as what we consider to be male or whatever. But no, this is Jessica or whoever, and no, she's a woman, and oh, okay, all right. And then by the end of an hour or two, it's normal. Even now they still question things or say things, that aren't correct, but they don't mean it.
No, and I think that's what's really important. It's all about the education. It's about
really
understanding.
It's just intent. Is this person a nice person or a horrible person? Yeah. And I did a corporate gig just the other day, and one of the drag queens was doing a song about pronouns, and this was for rich white billionaires, whatever. And nobody got it. And I just said to them after, I said, why? Everybody deserves your respect and approval and kindness. I said, but why do you care if these people, why do you care so much what these people think you are? Why do you care? I don't care what these people aren't going to do anything for me. As long as they're not beating me up. Like, they're not going to they're not going to improve my life. They're not going to offer me money for being myself or offer me advice. I don't know. I'm like, I've got no interest in these people. Why do you care so much?
But this is historical through the ages, that difference is always something that people, sort of initially fear and, struggle to get their heads around. You even go back 50, homosexuality just, two men
It's
being
not that
together.
long, yeah.
It's not that long ago when it was people were like, what on earth are you doing? And the
Was
difference.
it decriminalised here in 1984?
1990s.
Not sure, but I mean,
19. Wow. So
I mean,
that's.
really?
I felt at school I was the only gay person at school.
Oh, I was.
Obviously, I was. I mean, I was called Spice Boy. Because I had a Spice Girls jacket. Yeah, Spice Boy. I mean, I lived up to it. I did go as Jerry Halliwell for the World Book Day. I was like, she's written a book. It's called If Only. It's a bestseller. And so I felt very, isolated, and that I was really terribly bullied, and like everybody, I think, from my generation that was clearly gay at that age. And it just, because of Section 28 or whatever, or just the ending of that, it really just couldn't be helped. It was like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
He has to get on with it, he, because I just call myself anything. He has to get on with it, sort of thing,
And I think there is an element of that. Do you know what I mean? That, difference can be celebrated, but it also is frowned upon. Even coming, after the war, not that I'm that old, but, the cultural, when it was national subscription, but the breaking of, the 60s and the Summer of Love, and, the older generation then were just aghast at people taking drugs and, flower power and, and the pill, the level of kind of, how dare you behave in such an awful manner was what it was seen as. Reckless
Yes.
and, different and gregarious and outgoing. And so each generation has to go with the changes. And the older generation are always, because it's not their learned experience. So it just feels like another cultural change.
Yeah. I mean, the young ones now in the club, I feel quite ancient now because I don't get it.
How old are you?
36.
Right, okay.
Which is old, in clubland, really.
Absolute haggard.
Absolutely fucked. And I don't know. I do find myself not having that much interest in them, to be honest. I find it all quite dry at the minute. It's very, I think it's like literally in all creative sort of working environments at the minute, it's all just Instagram. It really has taken over. That's kind of what the Kardashian song was about. And it's just very difficult to connect to people. I remember being really rock and roll, and it was like that sort of thing where it was like, you don't want me in your, if I'm in the girls' bathroom back in the day. I mean, all the gays used to go in the girls' bathroom, right?
Yes.
I remember being at a party with, name drop, with Kate Moss, and I was in drag, and she was like, what the fuck are you doing in the women's bathroom? And I was literally like, shut up. I'll fucking piss where I want, Kate. And we used to just do what we want. We didn't need the approval of people. It's like, oh, fuck off. I'm having a piss. Fuck off.
Well, exactly. I mean, what are you going to do?
It all feels a bit like people need a bit of rock and roll and kick the doors down rather than whimpering and asking for permission. That's what I say. Yeah,
But I think as
Which
well,
is what I think we did and what they did in the 80s as gender benders.
Absolutely. And did find their place and become accepted and join in with the masses.
Well, I think you do. Or if you don't, you find your crew.
You find your tribe.
And you hang out with them and fuck everybody else.
Yeah, because if you think about the attitudes and the boundaries and the barriers that George broke coming through, and his friend...
Especially in America,
Yeah, and his friend Marilyn as well. I remember seeing Marilyn on Top of the Pops because I'm like 10 years older than you, and I was like...
Once.
I've just... Well, yes. Yeah. She's big on Twitter now. She's big on Twitter, saying what she bought in TK Maxx. But I remember looking at that thinking, well, I mean, I remember the first thing that I saw in like 1986 was S Express. And I didn't know what the music was about, but I saw the women with the afros and the platforms, and I thought, that's what I want to be.
Yeah.
Part of dressed as, listening to, doing whatever.
But I was second year of school when Karma Chameleon and Boy George came. I remember at Top of the Pops, and absolutely fell in love with Culture Club.
Yeah.
But I do remember my first thought or judgment was, is it a boy or is it a girl? Is it a boy or is it a girl?
I think America were just,
they were gobsmacked. Yeah.
He won the Grammy.
But it was that
like,
thing where, that's so unusual and, not something that you kind of come across in your life. But it was just a question. It wasn't a judgment of, and that's ridiculous, it can't be that.
I mean, he still is, but was so beloved.
Yeah.
Oh my God, my nan was just like, oh, he's beautiful.
And
And it's just
it's why it surprises
me. I guess it was quite
that
unsexual, I suppose, but.
Yeah, but does it not surprise you that that's why
but...
it's such a big deal now? Because you feel like the trailblazers has happened. It's such a long time. And so why are we having these discussions and arguments about, do you know what I mean, gender or
people's
people or what people are wearing or what?
Well, we've said that before.
Yeah, it does feel like we're going backwards.
Yeah, no, it does. I think the funniest thing that Boy George said recently, he was on Saturday Night Takeaway and they said to him, what does Karma Chameleon mean? And he said, never having to say the words, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. Then he said that to Ant and Dad and I was in hysterics.
Brilliant.
Because that's the thing, he's witty.
Yeah, that is witty. Bang on the money.
And also the thing about the music, he had the music, the tunes to back it up.
Oh, absolutely. The talent, the personality.
Those are songs. Those are brilliant, brilliant songs.
So when is your stuff coming out with him?
I don't know.
Are we pipeline?
When it comes.
Well, honey, you said a mouthful there.
It's when it comes soon-ish,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
you can't rush perfection.
Exciting. I mean, no, for me, it's always that thing where it can be quite difficult. Obviously, you make things. It really is my point that I just make things that have to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter what it does. I get emails from Spotify each month telling me I've had like 300 listeners. And it's like, okay. But it doesn't matter, as long as the work is good. It's sort of something that I've learned as I've become sober, is that as long as the work is good, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I make my living, from DJing, but I just think it's just so important you put out things that are good. And that's the problem with having so much stuff. Having so many people and so much stuff that comes out is that most of it is just absolute crap.
Yeah.
And it's the Emperor's New Clothes and people think it's amazing. How can you think this isn't?
It's the overuse of the word.
Song, or this is a good...
It's
the overuse of the word
iconic. Oh my God. Rip my nipples off. Yeah.
I do not know a person that works in London Clubland that is iconic at the moment.
No.
I don't. I can't name one. And yet, people that came sick from the last season of RuPaul's Drag Race, please welcome the iconic this. And I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, Madonna is iconic.
Yes.
Martin is iconic.
Yes.
This is it. It's
Lorraine Kelly is iconic.
God, not for me, that one. It's like a kinship because she's from your area. I just think, it's that overuse of celebrating things that really shouldn't be celebrated.
Yes,
how long have you been sober, and are you sworn off everything? Is it complete clean
almost
up?
2 years.
Okay.
2 years in June, and sworn off everything apart from poppers.
Oh?
Well, we've all got to have a treat.
You indulge in the popper?
I do. I have.
Oh, you do? You know you enjoy.
Oh, I indulge in quite a lot of things.
Okay. Poppers I'll allow. But everything else had to go out the window because I almost went out the window for every day for about 2 years. Yeah, it was a real rough time, which I never sort of had experienced before. I've always been that happy queen,
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you're back in the room.
So I thought.
I'm glad you're back in the room with the windows closed.
And the windows closed. Well, I mean,
and the ropes out of reach.
Yeah, I've done a song with George called Painted Windows, and that was, I had to paint the windows shut with Farrow and Ball, darling.
Of course.
During the lockdown, because I live on the 5th floor, and I just wanted to fling myself out the window. I was so depressed. I was so ill. And really
And how
surprised
did you,
me, you know.
How did you find your way out of it? Was there an incident? Was there someone that helped you? Did you come to your own realization?
Sort of came to my own realization. It was about 5 years where it stopped becoming fun. I mean, I work 7 days a week usually, and I was drinking 2 bottles of vodka 7 days a week. I was always drunk or hungover or feeling rough. And for about 5 years, I started blacking out every night. I wouldn't remember how I got home. If I got home, I'd wake up on the South Bank, shat myself on the South Bank, lying in my own piss and shit, and being raped by various people, beaten, lying on almost like, fucking by the side of the train tracks and motorways. I just could not get myself home. And I live in Fitzrovia. I'm about 2 minutes away from Soho. And I used to phone my best friend every morning in tears, just saying something has to change. But it took 5 years of saying that till I realised, well, it's the drinking, love.
Yeah.
Because drugs never really took hold of me. I did quite a lot of drugs, but not a little bit. I'm not very good on drugs, so I'd have like a tiny bump of cocaine and have to go home and sleep because I just couldn't handle
That's not how it's meant to work, love.
Ketamine is very good, very fun. So just the drinking, and it just got to the point where, I had some really bad experiences with men, and I just many times I just think, gosh, how have I not walked out in front of a bus, drunk and been hit by a bus, stumbling around. And I just thought, I just realised I wanted to live, really. I don't think I would have been still alive if I carried on, because not from like suicide or anything like that at that point, but just from like an accident.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I know a few friends of mine who have fallen. My friend who ran the ghetto nightclub, it was the fucking best nightclub in town. He fell down the stairs drunk, smashed his head. That was the end of that. Terrible. And a couple of other people, real accidents. And I'm like, how have I not been hit by the number 73 bus to King's Cross when I'm walking across Tottenham Court Road, like so out of it? So I just had to stop.
Well, maybe there was a reason for that.
Yeah, there was. I just realised that I wasn't living, I had lots that I wanted to achieve and lots I wanted to do. And it's so cliche, but it is the best thing I've ever done. Like,
and you look beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, and thank you very much. I was looking fucking rough, man.
You're looking fucking heavy, beautiful, baby. Now.
Oh.
Thank you. I was getting heavy, baby.
Oh, we can relate.
And I really, it's so true. You do not notice until you look back. I thought I looked the hot stuff.
Yeah.
And now I look at pictures 2 years ago and I'm like, fucking hell, I was ill as could be. I just looked so ill. And it's just great. I've just got, a lot of like love and a lot of happiness and
a lot of reasons for living.
Yeah. And just being creative and things like that. It really does stand in the way of everything.
Well, thank you.
For me, for those people that overindulge, working in this, and it's quite funny because working in my environment now, I can't believe how people don't get in the state that I get in. When the lights come on, everybody kind of goes home.
Yeah.
Normally, I'm like, why is everybody not throwing up and rolling on the floor and screaming to get fucked?
Yeah, the world is changing.
The lights come on, they collect their coats and off they go.
Yeah.
Apart from the one annoying straight girl that's in the corner
collect their coats and their dignity.
Yeah. You've just described.
I did not realise this is how it works.
Yeah, you've just described my local Morrison's when the yellow labels go on. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Lovely.
Thanks for having me, darlings.
Thank you for your time, and please do come to our live show in London.
Oh yes, we'd love to meet in person.
Okay, I would love to.
Yes, seriously, that would be absolutely fantastic. VIP, darling, very Anna Delvey.
Oh, beautiful.
Mwah.
See you soon.
Thanks, Joe. Bye.